a massive turnout, because for Bundung here, my stream one, we have 644 registered voters, and I could say we have less than 50 that came here to vote as of now, from the morning since now. So the voter turnout is very low. But we just hope that before the end of polling, more will come out, because it's already lunch time. Maybe some would prefer to come after lunch time. So we're looking forward to seeing them.
Election observers we bumped into at a polling station in Jambanjeli raised a similar concern.
We are very much concerned in the sense that government spend a lot of money on organizing elections. So if citizens are not coming out to come and vote, it should be a concern for every meaningful Gambian, because they take local government election as something minor. It is very important because it's community election. All the development in your ward is driven by your councillor. So if you are interested in your councillor election, I mean, how do you want to have your development?
Some voters we spoke to say they are looking forward to a better representation.
What we want if our candidate wins is for him to look into our challenges, like water shortage and road networks, as they become worse during the rainy season. It's a big problem because we would like to see them create centers for the children as playgrounds, as we lack them. They play on the roofs, and we lose many of them to accidents.
Farmer Abaji, GRTS News.
Meanwhile, the results of that election will be aired here on GRTS later. Now, the Chief Executive Officer, OIC Gambia, and officials of the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, joined by personnel of the National Roads Authority, on Saturday assessed the ongoing road construction works in the Greater Banjul area and the expansion exercise at the airport of VVIP terminal. Now, the inspection was greeted with satisfaction. GRTC's MS Jalo has all the details.
2-kilometer stretch from the Joshua main highway right down to the Kerava Avenue is the final port of call in a days-long inspection tour of OIC infrastructure project by the head of the OIC Secretariat, Mr. Yankuba Diba. Well, work is progressing smoothly in almost all the inspected sites, with contractors working round the clock. From the Wooling-Kamba to the Brufut AU Highway, and of course, the Battle Hardin Highway, as well as the VVIP launch at the airport. And this 2-kilometer stretch where we are standing right now, work is progressing as expected, according to the head of the OIC Secretariat, and he's been impressed with what we have seen in today's inspection tour.
If I may use a score of 1 to 10, I would say 8. Because I've seen this right from conception through all the difficult administrative and funding arrangements. And as I always tell people, this is kind of the tangible stage that people see. But a lot more goes into project planning, resource mobilization before we reach here. And even at this stage, if you listen carefully to what the MD keeps emphasizing, is the issue of certain services, relocating services. And I think I try to re-echo that by indicating that construction within habitat area cannot be compared with building roads in the bush. Because here, lives are affected. People are already living in their houses. If you cut a cable today, you deny that family electricity. You cut a pipe, you deny that family water. You cut a cable, you deny businesses access to internet. So it needs a lot of collaborative effort. It needs a lot of care. And of course, even where people know they are on the right of way and they know they anticipate compensation, it's heartbreaking. You're living in your house and one day you see a bulldozer tearing your house down. It's not an easy thing. So we have a lot of management to do, not only traffic management, but emotional management. We need to communicate with people. We need to appeal to their sensibilities. We need to appeal to their consensus. We need to feel, we need to have empathy. So there's a lot involved in project planning, implementation, and so on. And for me, at the level of the OIC, as I said, having been our office being associated with all stakeholders right from the beginning. We are really, really over the moon today to see that we have come this far.
One infrastructure project that the government of the Gambia is working to ensure its completion in time for the OIC summit. And the OIC Secretariat is definitely working to ensure that works on these infrastructure projects are completed. And in the coming days, we'll be exploring more of these OIC infrastructure projects on the Gambia radio and television services. Omar Jallo, GRTS News.
What does it mean to live near the Bakote dome site? GRTS Kadijatu Jallo has been talking to residents near the dome site as well as that of those living near the Kotu pit, as their story is of concern for their health and they want government to intervene to their needs. Details in this report.
Despite the number of vehicles provided by the Kanifi Municipal Council to collect waste, and those private waste collectors, waste management remain a challenge in the municipality. At Bakote dump site, waste collectors are busy going in and out to dump waste collected from different parts of the municipality. Walking along the streets in Bakote and Kotukware, we saw few indiscriminate waste dumping sites, some of which look detrimental to the environment and people staying around. Lady Jamme, resident of Kotukware, said some of these quarries are filled with waste to level the place and ease movement of people and motorists in the area. One of the quarries behind Officers' Mess, Jamme further explained, is designated by KMC to dump car tires. Residents near the quarry, Jamme further explained, suffer during rain season as he called on authorities to support in finding means of rolling the quarries. Some of these places are used by women for gardening, a move that will earn them a living and enhance socio-economic development of the country. As we saw in some places along the street, people are fond of burning their waste, which is detrimental to the environment and contributes to global warming. Government, in its quest to keep the environment clean, enacted anti-littering bills, but implementation remains a challenge in ensuring citizenry effect positive attitudinal change towards waste management and keeping the environment clean. Kadijatu Jallo, reporting for GRTS News.
Now, the Nurses Bantaba Charitable Foundation, the Gambia, has donated $52,125 to one Mariama Ba to help fund her medical bill. Mariama has a rare disorder that makes it difficult for food and liquid to pass from the swallowing tube connecting the mouth and stomach. Janke Ture has more on that story.
A noble gesture meant for a good cause. Nurses Bantaba Charitable Foundation, the Gambia, have reached out to their colleague Mariama Ba with a donation of over $50,000 as a way of support for her health condition.
We're here to grace an occasion that will go through history in support of our colleague whose story has been relayed to us through a colleague on the same foundation. Her story came during the Ramadan when it was shared on our platform about the plight of Mariam.
Sheikh Hatab Tamba, vice president of the foundation, described Mariama as a strong woman despite her condition. The donation, he added, will go a long way in trying to fill some of the financial gaps while assuring their continued support.
This event is a show of love, compassion, care, commitment, and dedication of service to humanity. As a foundation, we gave hope to fire victims and windstorm victims in a bid to help resume to normal life. Nurses Bantaba Charitable Foundation is here to share the pain with a dear colleague in the struggle, and we want to assure Mariama that she will not be alone and will be continuing to receive help just to raise hope through our charity work.
Mariama Ba, a nurse by profession and a mother, is suffering from achalasia, a rare disorder since 2013. Her condition makes it difficult for food and liquid to pass from the swallowing tube connecting her mouth and into her stomach. According to the patient, it's a dilemma living with such a condition, as she narrates her story, urging for more support.
It was not easy with me. Whatever I eat or drink, I vomit. Whatever I eat and drink and vomit. So I went to Dr. Samate and complained about it. So I went and do several tests. But then the burial meal, you have to drink a cup of water for them to scan and see the problem. But for me, I'm unfortunate. I cannot even drink the liquid. So they refer me to Dakar to go and do the endoscopy. Then Gambia, we did not have endoscopy.
Mamadou Drame, brother to Mariama, commended the association for the unity in trying to reach out to Gambians. This gesture, he noted, is a form of healing to Mariama.
The family is grateful, and this is all we can do for each other. If every other profession comes to the aid of their fellow, I think this will go a very long way in addressing a lot of problems. It's not about the money. It's not that this can, actually cure her, but it has healed her.
Achalasia occurs when nerves in the esophagus become damaged, and living with such a condition for over 9 years without knowing the taste of food and water, the association members call out to Gambians to support Mariama to have an overseas treatment to regain her normal life. Janket Ture, GRTS News.
The Gambia Federation of the Disabled on Saturday organized an interface to discuss the importance of political participation of the differently abled persons. The forum brought together stakeholders in political class to engage the federation and appreciate the political rights of the differently abled persons to vote and be voted for into public office. For more on that, let's join this report later in our subsequent news bulletin rather. And then moving on, staff of the RepGam project on Saturday visited beneficiary communities in the Upper River region and North Bank regions. In Basse, project officials promised solar-powered energy to the Gambia College Annex located in the outskirts of the town. Usman Mane reports.
The RepGam project has increased the energy needs of beneficiary public institutions that are identified to be supplied with solar power systems by catering their overall energy requirements. Gambia College Basse Campus is one of the institutions that is already being assessed as part of the pilot project. A member of the steering committee of the project, Suma W. Jadama, explains the decisions of the committee during a familiarization visit.
Our project steering technical meeting, we've agreed that public institutions who serve as beneficiary members of this great project should be given, their entire electricity. It should be covered, not to be given in piecemeal, so that there will be a foregone conclusion. And the Gambia College is not an exception.
The complex is operational and reduces burden on Brikama campus through rural-urban migration in search for opportunities. Adequate electricity supply is still a challenge for the school, as the program coordinator Matar Sise explains, while thanking RepGam project.
We know the type of situation we are in here, and I know the potential of the project when it comes to energy in Gambia College Basse Campus here. Because we have only one way of getting electricity, and if it doesn't work, then it means there is a problem. So getting the information that you are the ones that are responsible of making sure that there is another alternative.
Dr. Ibrahim Asonko hailed the students, staff and management for their environmental action by keeping the school green. The delegation went on a tour of the school to see the site identified to host the solar platforms. The visit continued in Koina and Sandu Misra as the two communities opted for street lighting. The team visited the hill where the elders identified as the best place for the radiation of the sun. The VDC chairman of Misra was elated to welcome the visiting team as the community eagerly awaits the implementation of the project.
Tato mo be contender pour kali jambi projet ro nyin tola yala as bismillah komi be bi men do bi nal kanyanta jande because mo men nata ko mbe ma ko la nyim fensifar no ma ngane nyi masore ate okela.
The delegation, comprising both administrative and financial staff, also visited Kuntawur and Jane Sanjal to see the sites and the level of preparedness. For the community of Njen Sanjal, the place where the platform is said to be installed was already cleared and ready for the first ever major solar project. The talk continues in the North Bank region. Usman Mane, GRTS.
Now let's stay with rural Gambia, where in the Lower River region, the Foundation for Development and Cooperation called the private institution of the public utility, IMVF, in partnership with the Techifi Project and United Purpose on Friday concluded a capacity building seminar for madrasa students on irregular migration with focus on entrepreneurship. Now, as Usman Balde reports, the forum was funded by the European Union and Trust Fund for Africa.
It's a Portuguese project working closely with Techifi Project and partners in the country with the ambition of discouraging young people from using the sea to Europe. Speaking to GRTS shortly after the opening ceremony, the social cohesion manager at IMVF Techifi Project, Junior Mendy, explained the importance of shifting their project to the madrasa schools.
The curriculum they are using is made in a form that some of them, many of them, when they finish school, they find it difficult to get employment, and also many of them, when they are finished their grade 9 or 12, they desire to venture into this dangerous journey, which is irregular migration. So that is why we desire to come into the madrasa to discuss with them and share with them our ideas about the dangers of irregular migration, and also to show them the available opportunities that is available in this country for young people.
For his part, the regional youth coordinator for Lower River Region at the Ministry of Youth and Sport, Fabakari Sane, described the forum as vital and timely, saying the issue of irregular migration has no boundaries.
The first of its kind, thanks to IMBF through European Union, with their implementing partner to make sure we reach a madrasa school is very important, because these are our young people, whether male or female, there, and they are also important to get this information.
Abdullah Sise, who is a returnee, hailed IMVF and the European Union for engaging the Arabic schools, saying it was an overjoy for him to face students and share his experience on the dangers of irregular migration.
The difficulty we face and the torture we face on this journey, and the financial we spoil on the journey. At the end of the day, we don't die, we come back again home. I think to help our brother, because to me, if one person die in this Mediterranean Sea, it's a very big loss to the country. I prefer than all of us not even going to Europe, than even one person dying to the Mediterranean Sea, because 500 people going through this Mediterranean Sea, 499 people enter through to Italy. Even one people die, we cannot repair that person, and we cannot bring that person back in life. So for that being the case, that's why we always go to the societies, and also to the madrasas, because this is the first time we are going to the madrasas to share our story to them and tell them that they are dangerous and the difficulty that's in this this backway journey.
Mrs. Mendy further explained that her office did not only stop at encouraging students to stop using the backway to Europe, but they also encourage young people to venture into other business skills which can be useful to their livelihoods.
This support that we give to young people for the entrepreneurship is the grants, that is the mini and agro grant, which is done in a form of kind based on your request. Like if you are into poultry farming, after collecting the form and meeting all the required criteria, you will be provided with all that you requested for as far as that activity is concerned. Then we will provide you everything up to your doorstep, and it will be given to you. The same thing applies to the agro grant, which is $250,000, and the mini is $50,000. And also the other thing, for the madrasas, we started working with them since 2020, and we started with 13 madrasas in CRR. Now, by the end of our activities with madrasa, we'll be able to reach 58 madrasas with a total number of 2,500 madrasa students in LRR, NBR, CRR, North and South, and URR.
According to organizers, today is the 5th day of the campaign, targeting 10 madrasa schools within the Lower River region as the second encounter. Osman Balde, GRTS News.
Officials of the Rice Value Chain Transformative Project continued their tour of intervention sites in the Central River region. The monitoring and evaluation exercise is meant to assess performance of dry season rice production. Mudlamin Sani has the details of the report.
Official field visit took Rice Value Chain Transformation Project implementers to the Wasu rice fields, where the project is supporting the Rice Growers Association of the area. Farmers here are cultivating a 36-hectare land, targeting both rainy and dry season of rice production under the Rice Value Chain Transformation Project. Project officials are on the field to examine dry season production after providing support of good farm practice and inputs.
The primary goal of the project is to enhance production and productivity. That comes with the provision of high-quality seeds of Nerica L19 and Orelok 6. In our fourth year of production, in 2019 and 2020, we provided full package of fertilizer and seeds. And especially last year, production was boosted significantly. In fact, a lot of farmers are still consuming those rice that was produced in the last year's dry season.
The project plan of cultivating rice year-round looks promising, but this year, farmers are constrained with the unavailability of fertilizer. The difficulties we are facing right now is the unavailability of fertilizer. Even if you have money, you will not see where to buy it.
It's difficult to satisfy the whole farming community with fertilizer, looking at the situation, especially this year when we have this Ukraine crisis that is affecting all the commodities. So unlike last year when we have more than abundant supply, and we have been, even up to this year, part of last year's supply was used to supply. So this year we've supply NPK.
The Rice Value Chain Transformation Project is also intervening in Barajali. This rice field is over 19 hectares, cultivated by the Rice Growers Association with technical support from the farmer field schools.
This farmer field school is a very effective tool of knowledge transfer. You know, you can observe here how the observation, the adaptation rate. You can see these farmers all the time, they come timely operation, and even to the extent of harvest, you know. So all the operations are observed, you know, as trained by the trainers. So the adoption rate is fine there.
Here farmers lamented the lack of enough fertilizer and the smooth inflow of water during the dry season. Almost all our canal float gates are damaged, and that is making things difficult for us. We also want the land to be expanded so that we can cultivate more rice. The project intends to expand support to increase dry season rice production. The tour continues in the southern part of the Central River region. Modulamin Sane reporting for GRTS News from the Central River region.
For civic education with funding from UNICEF has been promoting civil rights education in the Upper River region, targeting the grassroots level. Now, Seydou Kamara reports inclusive participation, building local capacity for sustainable grassroots development was the theme for the event.
Brought together community structure on civic education and participation in decision-making processes at the grassroots level. Inclusive participation, building local capacity for sustainable grassroots development was the center of discussion. The program manager, National Council for Civic Education, Yusuf Bojan, stated that the training is aimed at enhancing civic education awareness among the decentralized session structures, especially youth, women, and differently abled people, for increased inclusion and participation in decision-making at the grassroots level.
Considering the polarization in this country, mainly due to misinformation and hostile political climate amidst post-presidential and parliamentary election. This activity involves 12 training sessions in 3 administrative regions of CRR, LRR, and the URR. And 4 sessions will be conducted in each of these selected regions, targeting over 420 participants. And these participants include the VDCs, of course, some of you are already here, the WDCs, the MDFTs, the Mothers Club, youth representatives, women, and other decentralized structures, including people with disability.
According to Mr. Bojang, it is important to reorient citizens on their civic rights duty in order for them to actively participate in governance and other decision-making processes, especially at the local level.
Despite efforts to increase inclusion and participation through policy and legal frameworks, there are still gaps in active citizens' involvement, especially at the grassroots. Hence, this intervention by the NCCE and partners, like I mentioned earlier, such as UNICEF and UN Peace Building Fund, to increase civic education, especially among the decentralized structures at the grassroots, for their increased participation in decision-making, peace building, and development in general.
For the Lady Councillor Jomfolo Jabi, the training will go a long way in raising public awareness, stressing the need to stop women profiling as they contest for political and other positions in the country.
Kankuntu dula kamuso tarajeto amansia. Andu nyanta fero be katalale kaje ko musol fana ye mabe wo kankuntu dula. Muneka musol bali mabe lo kankuntu dula. Ika fala ko moti tala National Assembly ni mankara. Andu ite man wulu kangomen susu. Ise fang express no wala to. Kende ke katambi wandi kangol. Andu mel fana carte o fayite wol mankara. Ite ka men fo National Assembly wol buka o moy. Natara ka tubab kangolef. But ning atara komen ike fangola kangolefo mele carte o fayi balo nolal ka fo ko nyinde na sula ko aka wole fo nyindulato.
The program saw diverse participants of youth and women who are expected to disseminate the messages gained from the training to enhance peace and understanding. Seydou Kamara, reporting for GRTS News from Basse Upper River Region.
This is News File. Up next is sport, but a quick look at our top stories once again. The government released white paper outlining its position on the recommendations of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission report, says Justice Minister Daouda Jallow.
Now, the Independent Electoral Commission bemoans low voter turnout at the Saturday local government by-election in the West Coast region and Canifing municipality.
In sports, Liverpool wins the FA Cup final, beating Chelsea 5-6 on penalties, making it Jurgen Klopp's first FA trophy as the Reds manager.
And fighting rages in Ukraine Donbas region, where Russian forces appear stalled.
That's all coming up shortly. Don't go away.
The resilience of organization for transformative smallholder agriculture project andira roots ko dubi jegom milioji $100 project. Roots non be mio wali to ranne sengo e duwoni ngure be nyamanteri ndi yo ligodgol e remo be ngandana be kewani dole tan e no wami o waylortan e Gambia andira climate change. Roots project onon ko ballondiral tan ma kawral hakkunde lamu Gambia ngu International Fund for Agricultural Development andira IFAD. Remo be kewani be dole tan ne kulle odo project no wata men wallito tan he liggéesaji goɗɗi ɗi ndeggine roots ɗo GRTS ko waktu gumota onon hen mbawi noddu programme onon ko ñane tenen lewru me balɗe mum 16 e gili waktuji jeenayi mankude minutaji 10 ha waktuji jeenayi si pawi minutaji 50 e kulle tan mbawon andu roots project ko hono o liggore tan kamen he wallodiroɓe mumen ɓe he jama o ndeggine roots kulle mbawon andude project ko hono ligginira nde hitande yawrande 2021 e hono ɓe pewndi e kulle ɓe mbawa liggo e hirande gonɗen nde ɗo ɗum woni hirande 2022.
Download the Apple TV app and watch your favorite TV channels anywhere, anytime. Just dial *222# to subscribe and buy special data bundles at a cheaper price. AfriCell makes life easier.
Welcome back. Now Liverpool has won the FA Cup final, beating Chelsea 5-6 on penalties, making it Jurgen Klopp's first FA trophy as the Reds manager, though he has produced a brilliant performance in the Saturday's clash. Liverpool and Senegalese international Sadio Mane lost a spot kick, but notwithstanding, Liverpool made it through in front of thousands of fans who cheered their players throughout the 90 minutes plus stoppage time with "You Will Never Walk Alone" slogan. A short break and return with internationals. Do stay with us.
Welcome back. Russian forces appear to be stalled in the Ukraine's eastern Donbas region, despite significant efforts in the Izium and Severodonetsk area to make a breakthrough to Kramatorsk, the major city in the Ukrainian-controlled part of the coal basin. Details in this France 24 report.
For the Study of War in the United States have actually gone so far as to say it seems as though Ukraine has won the Battle of Kharkiv. The Ukrainian authorities haven't been crying victory on that front yet, nor have the Russians announced officially that they're withdrawing from the area. But these US-based defense analysts say that that's what the Russians seem to be doing, that they're not any longer putting up any resistance as the Ukrainian forces advance and take territory to the north and to the east of Kharkiv. Whether or not the Ukrainians will be able to go further to the east, though, and start seriously cutting off the Russian forces' supply lines going south, the US analysts are less sure because the terrain there is not so favorable to them, notably because of the presence of water features. But as you were saying just a moment ago, one water feature in the Donetsk region, the Siversky Donetsk River, seems to have proven quite a difficult obstacle for the Russians, who suffered terrible losses as they were attacked by Ukrainian artillery just as they were trying to cross that river on a pontoon bridge. And that really seems to have hampered the Russians' advance in the Donetsk region as well, because although they are perhaps advancing by a few meters or a few hundred meters on a daily basis, this is really nothing like the kind of rapid advance that the Russian forces were clearly hoping for. Actually, behind me on this square where I am in Kiev, there's a little exhibition about the history of this conflict between Ukraine and Russia going back to the 1990s. And the last poster at the end there is called Putin's Failed Blitzkrieg and talks about the Russians' failure to take the Kiev region. It may be that they're going to have to add another poster to the end of that quite soon now and talk about the failure to take Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv, as well.
And Gulver, speaking of Putin, the Ukrainian president has told Italian television that Emmanuel Macron's attempts to have a constructive dialogue with the Russian president aren't really getting anywhere. Is that an indication that Zelensky doesn't approve of the French approach, do you think?
I think that the Ukrainians have never said that they don't approve in principle of talking to Vladimir Putin. Zelensky himself has said that he would like to talk to the Russian president. But what Zelensky has said is that this dialogue that Macron has been having with Vladimir Putin has really not got anywhere. And he went further in this interview with Italian TV. He accused Emmanuel Macron of suggesting that Ukraine should make some concessions on its sovereignty in order to allow the Russian president to save face. That really has not gone down well in Ukraine at all. It was picked up by all Ukrainian media. Of course, the Ukrainians absolutely do not think that now is the time to be trying to find a way for Vladimir Putin to save face or rewarding the Russians for this aggression against Ukraine by, I don't know, recognizing Crimea or part of Donbass. Volodymyr Zelensky didn't go into the specifics about what exactly Emmanuel Macron proposed, but it's certainly something that the Ukrainians don't approve of, and it adds to a series of rhetorical blunders, if you like, from Emmanuel Macron, at least as they are seen from Ukraine. Particularly, he said that Ukrainians and Russians are brotherly nations. That is something that Ukrainians absolutely do not feel at the moment, and it is seen in Ukraine as a myth propagated by Russian propaganda. Actually, one of the other posters in this exhibition behind me is about exactly that myth.
In the internationals, more than 20 candidates have registered for the upcoming presidential election in Somalia to be held on the 15th of this month. Now, some of the key candidates include the incumbent president, Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, and two former heads of state and a prime minister. Mohamed Kahiye reports from the capital, Mogadishu, in the CGTN report.
Center in the capital, Mogadishu, the only female presidential candidate, Fawzia Yusuf Haji, receives her certificate to run for office dominated by men. Former Somali foreign minister urges parliamentarians who will decide on the indirect process to consider her leadership qualities as a woman.
Women stand for peace, stability, support, development, and I hope Somali members of parliament to understand the changes we need in this country and give me their votes so that I become the leader, and if I don't win, I will support the winner.
The incumbent President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo officially announced his candidacy for re-election for the second term in office.
Following my consideration of the need for good leadership for both our people and nation, while responding to the calls of our citizens, I hereby decided to submit my candidacy once again as the President of the Federal Republic of Somalia to continue the ongoing changes in the country.
Former heads of state Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, Sheikh Sharif Sheikh Ahmed, and previous Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khairi are key contenders who want to replace President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo. All the aspirants are campaigning to build peace and stability if given the chance to lead the Horn of African state with a million chances as well as challenges.
Elections in Somalia means many things to many people across the globe. But here in the country, the process means almost nothing to ordinary citizens, with the changes at the top will not improve their security and economy. Ahmed Kain, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.
Well, that does it for the news file. But before we take a leave of you, a quick look at our top stories once again.
Now, the government will release white paper outlining its position on the recommendations of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission report, said the Justice Minister, Dauda Jallow.
The Independent Electoral Commission has bemoaned low voter turnout at the Saturday local government by-election in the West Coast region and Kanifing municipality.
Now, staff of the RepGam project has promised clean energy for the Gambia Basse Branch.
In sports, Liverpool has won the FA Cup final, beating Chelsea 5-6 on penalties, making it Georgian Cloak's first FA trophy as the Reds manager.
And fighting rages in the Ukraine Donbass region where Russian forces appear stalled.
Plus, over 20 candidates have registered for Somalia's presidential polls.
Well, viewers, that does it for this hour, and we'll be back at 2200 hours for more news and updates. Until then, thank you for the pleasure of your company, and do stay tuned and enjoy our interesting programs here on GRTS TV.
Niaji be mol jamalef ko domo baka sumunala o buro bayri mburu jana lalu fanan ni man ko kaje jaba bala ne kilal ta do
Jeba ko do ka kuno de sembota da ko mo be je fakataji ba ko yoro fonin jole
Tonyala ala emin fodoro bari siyosi yaje alon ko mo kendol bije itano bije
bi ni ngano num fon kunta kinte feri mbole didal
Shibaro di alkalo la katandi ko olong nyina buluba karo ala mara karo nyemin fata ita kontilano
Woto bi ni amu yali ba for the factory. Oje jita bo mu to. Man ko kono. Ndel fana nata kambe ngaman. Nko bi usus del min kanye woto ke kono to. E balti fay laso to. Ita balto fay na Johnson oto ja.
Barkadi kebe atuta tingole to. Lati na je foka kole ya mulu wako.
Alam kira program ole min kanal GRTS television auto. Sibir lengo la ñu ñëwaat wala nal ba di mala ak mara ciati.